YouTube! What's going on, Cybers? I hope all of y'all are enjoying your new year in 2019. New year, new me resolutions have plagued all of social media, and I'm not gonna be a part of it because I'm just gonna keep doing what I do. Be more consistent. That's a New Year's resolution that I think everybody should have, because if you're more consistent, then all those goals that you be writing about and raving about on every social media platform will inadvertently come true. So enough about that. I do hope y'all enjoying y'all day though. Today I have a response video that I saw posted on the Anime Amino app. Of course I was going to respond to it to the blog post directly, but I chose to make this a response video because otherwise I was going to be typing for a very long time. As you can see from the title of the video, this is something that I never thought somebody would blog about and actually try to defend Lucy from Fairy Tail. Not even just the anime, but Lucy specifically from Fairy Tail. What I plan to do is I'm going to tackle each point that they made in the post about Lucy and why she doesn't deserve the hate, quote unquote. And then I'm going to tackle why she is hated specifically. But before I get into that, I want to make clear to those that are watching the video that it is because of the hate that Fairy Tail gets as a whole that amplifies the hate that is given to Lucy. I want to make that very clear. Now everybody knows the hate that Fairy Tail gets from the quote saved by plot and the power of friendship excuses that we get, and the whole Nakama speeches and the massive plot holes. It's a lot. Now this all ties into how weak Lucy is as a character, and I want to say that this is actually my first point that he argues in the blog post. His statement is a valid one nonetheless, and it said that he says that Lucy is hated because she is weak. He goes on to say that this plagues a lot of female main protagonists. Now with his first bullet point, he is right to a degree. I mean, Ezra or Urza, however you look at it, is a main female protagonist and she's badass as hell. I don't care how you try to cut it. Like Urza is badass as fuck. I keep saying Ezra just because I've never heard Urza until Fairy Tail, but I'm gonna keep like messing that up all video. But nonetheless, this is where Lucy starts to get her bad reputation. So a little backstory of Lucy. From what we see from chapter 1, from episode 1, she begins to seek out to join Fairy Tail, right? That's how we're introduced to her. She joins. Now, it has been stated that pre-time skip Fairy Tail was the strongest guild, right? Before that 7-year time skip where Natsu and all the powerhouses, they disappeared, the Fairy Tail guild was the strongest guild that there was. So she chose to actively seek out and join the strongest guild, and then she joins the strongest team in the strongest guild, which consisted of Natsu, Gray, Urza, and then Lucy joins, and then eventually Wendy joins. Now there are two things that are really wrong with this, and it contributes heavily in the early episodes as to why people start to dislike her. I don't think we hated her at this point, but the dislike for her was very apparent, and it starts with one, she doesn't contribute at all to the team. You look at Natsu the Dragon Slayer, and then you have Gray, who wasn't a Demon Slayer at the time, but he held his own. Using ice magic, he would hold his own against Natsu in a fight. You have Urza on the team, who is an S-rank wizard. Then you have Lucy. What does she contribute to the team? Not a damn. Okay, so that's like part A. That's part A. She's not contributing. From the very start, she's not contributing. Now, B, which ties into A, is she talks so much shit to the enemies. Like, I'm gonna give you an analogy. You have a basketball team, right? And you have your 5 starters on the court. They're playing their heart out, right? They're playing their heart out. Sometimes they win, and other times it's like an uphill battle, the teams that they face. Now, if the people on the court were talking shit, that's one thing. But then you have the people on the bench that are talking the most shit to the people on the court, or to the people in the crowd, or to the other team on the bench. You're not in the game. Why are you talking shit? And then when you do get in the game, let's say they do get in the game, they're trash. They're actually worse than trash, okay? They're dumpster juice, all right? That's Lucy in the beginning half of this anime. Lucy is dumpster juice. You know, when you take the bag out the dumpster and you throw that trash away, that little puddle of juice that you have, that shit, she's that. And she depends on Natsu, she depends on Gray, she depends on Urza to fight the battles. She depends on Happy to get her away from fighting the battles. Towards the latter half of the anime, you can tell that Hiro Mashima, the creator of Fairy Tail, you could tell that Hiro is beginning to become conscious of the hate that the dislike for Fairy Tail, but the hate of Lucy, and it becomes very apparent And you know, Hiro, he tries to give her the spotlight with certain fight and let her win and do her thing, but it just seems so forced and it's just not organic, that you know he's just doing it just because. Like, he's not doing it because Lucy has potential. He's doing it because, okay, well, she has to do something. That's really as it came off. She has to do something because she hasn't done anything up until this point. Now, the second bullet point that he touches on, and I disagree, is that he says that her magic isn't suitable for combat. Now, I wasn't reading Fairy Tail in the manga at this point, and to be quite frank with you, I never read it at all. Just because from the anime's debut and standpoint, I wasn't really going to be into it. Now, it's stated in the anime that the number of celestial wizards has declined in the wizard world, but nonetheless, the spirits hold immense power. Like, I want y'all to remember real quick Yukino. Alright, she's a celestial wizard that was introduced during the Grand Magic game arc that was a part of Sabretooth. Her spirits, this is where I disagree with him, because he's talking about Lucy and her bitch ass celestial spirits. Yukino is a prime example of what happens when you make a contract with a very suitable celestial spirit, okay? Her spirits were insanely powerful that she used. Now, we really saw in combat standpoint her Pisces and her Libra. And then this is how you know celestial spirits were like fucking insane. And if Hiro actually took the time to develop celestial spirits, he would have been onto something insane. She had a mythical 13th zodiac key, bro. It was like a giant snake or some shit. Now, granted, up until this point, up until the fight that we see her use her celestial spirits, you know, because she did lose. I'm not going to sit here and say that she won, because y'all will be like, bro, she used her celestial spirits and she lost, so technically the person who made this point is valid. Okay, but Yukino fought Kagura, who, mind you, was Mermaid Teal's strongest wizard. The strongest wizard, okay? That's who she had to fight. But up until this point of her fighting Kagura, Yukino had never lost a fight as a celestial wizard since joining Sabretooth. Keep that in mind. I don't know when she joined, but let's just say she joined at the beginning of the 7-year time skip. So for 7 years, Yukino had never lost a fight as a celestial spirit. Now, if Yukino could do that with just 2 gold zodiac keys and a mythical 13th key, why can't Lucy do better when she has 10 gold keys? She's weak. Just point blank period. She is weak. But that doesn't mean her magic is weak. You see what I'm saying? When everybody, when it was like, I assume it's a filler episode, but like, it was an episode, it seemed like one, it didn't make any sense. When everybody switched bodies, right? And everybody was in someone else's body and they had to use that other person's magic. They were ineffective with using that other person's magic. Now, does that mean that their magic is weak? I think Lucy was in Natsu's body. She couldn't use his fire magic to save her life, if I'm getting that right. Whoever was in Natsu's body could not use his magic. Does that mean that Natsu's Dragon Slayer fire magic was weak? No, of course that's not what it means. It just means that she wasn't suitable, or whoever it was not suitable for Natsu's fire magic. That does not make the magic in and of itself weak. Celestial spirit magic is actually incredibly strong. If I had to guess why it was on a decline, it's because you're making a contract with another living being. And this is what I'm talking about, plot holes. At the beginning of the anime, they state that you had to make day contracts with the celestial spirit, and you could only summon those celestial spirits on that particular day. Now, later in the anime, Hiro completely abandons that fact and just lets Lucy summon any celestial spirit whenever she wanted. Didn't matter the time of day, didn't matter the day of week. She was just summoning them left and right. That's also not to mention that she learned the ability to summon multiple celestial spirits at one time. So technically, if she was to grow as a celestial spirit, she might be able to open all 12 gates at the same time. That's also not including that she could summon the celestial spirit king. And she had a damn celestial spirit whip. Come on, like she was just weak as a wizard in general. And because she was on the strongest team Fairy Tail had to offer with so many powerhouses, she was inevitably highlighted as the black duckling. She talked so much shit, but what did you contribute? You can't talk shit. You need to go hide somewhere. And this became like just even bigger next to Urza, who is a S rank wizard. Like, look, I'm trying to tell you, if I was in Fairy Tail, I would not want to pair up with an S rank wizard, because you're going to probably go on S rank missions and S rank quests. And I know I like life too much to put myself in jeopardy with some shit like that. Like, I'm just being honest. Now, they also mentioned Levy and Wendy, and I want to make this perfectly clear, because they said that, oh, Levy and Wendy, they don't have combative magic, but we don't talk about them. Wendy is a fucking Dragon Slayer, and she holds her own whenever they're in a fight. As young as she is, she holds her own better than Lucy does. And she has healing magic, but she's also a Dragon Slayer, so it's kind of, you know, it's kind of different because she's also a Dragon Slayer, so she has dragon attacks. And then she also got into the Dragon Force as well, so you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can't make this comparison, and even then, it makes Lucy look 10 times weak, because if Wendy can do this with healing Dragon Slayer magic, why can't you do this with offensive combatant Celestial Spirit magic? They mentioned Levi. Levi doesn't, she knows her place. She just knows her place. She's not out there in the field running around taking on all these dark guilds and trying to fight in fights that she knows she's not going to win. She doesn't even have, now Levi really doesn't have offensive magic. She has like script magic, so of course she's not going to be running around in the field. There's no point to do that. The next 2 bullet points he touches on, I agree with him 100% on these next 2. He said that she's spoiled, and he argues against it. I agree. You can't help what family you're born into. However, the problem I really have with that whole situation, when she joined the guild and the whole guild war went down against the Phantom Lord Guild, where Lucy's father hired them to get them back, Lucy was 100% in the wrong for that, and she really should have told Fairy Tail about it, but she didn't, and she kept it a secret. I believe Fairy Tail should have been, I still think it would have happened, but they wouldn't have been blindsided like that. Levi and I forget the other 2 people that she runs with. Levi and them, they might not have been jumped and, you know, strung up on the tree. They would have been better prepared, and they could have properly protected her and defended the guild hall if she had told them from the jump. Second bullet point was Lucy is for fan service. He agreed and disagreed at the same time. All the women are for show in that anime. I mean, they're all fan service. Lucy just gets more screen time, so there's more backlash against her. That's really all I have to say about that. But the fourth and final bullet point, and my biggest one as to why I wanted to make a video on this, is because Hiro dropped the ball completely. This could have really have set Fairy Tail up to be the best love triangle of any shonen anime. I'm just being honest with you. He talked about and he mentioned the Nalu shipping between Natsu and Lucy, but he stated this is why Lucy may potentially receive a large portion of her hate as a character. Now, it's interesting that you mentioned this, because I have never hated a character just because of hating. I've never hated a character because of shipping either. He stated that people are mad because the Natsu and Lucy shipping versus the Natsu and Lasana shipping. Now, shipping is 99.9% opinionated. The only time when it's not opinionated is when something is stated from the mangaka that says otherwise. And in this case, Hiro Mashima said inexplicably otherwise in terms of the shipping that happened. Hiro Mashima shipped Natsu and Lisana, right? When they were kids and they were raising Happy as an egg, and we saw the whole flashback episode of the 2 of them. Then it flashes forward to when they were like around the same age that they are now and still together, and they were flirting, and they were, you know, he was telling her to be careful right before she went on that mission. You know, spoiler alert if you haven't watched the mission where, you know, her brother Elfman had killed Lasana accidentally when he tried to take over, you know, he tried to take over the spirit, you know, Demon King, or was it it was something, right? Beast King, something like that. He tried to take over the spirit took him over. He killed Lasana in that enraged form. I guess Mira Jane, their other sister, stopped him. I can't say that they were dating. Like, that was never said in the anime. That was never stated by Hiro to the best of my knowledge. But damn it, the anime put them together. And that's exactly what I'm sticking to. They were flirting. They were into each other. They were talking about getting married as kids. Natsu's blushing. Lasana's blushing. I don't know. They probably did some nasty stuff in the library right before she left. Who could really tell? But their feelings were nonetheless obvious to them, everyone in the guild, and us as the readers or watchers of the anime, so don't at me. The only reason Lucy got in there was because of the reason that I had mentioned earlier. She had quote-unquote died. Now, I had to look this up, because I needed to know exactly when she had, you know, died in the anime. So I looked it up on the wiki page, and the events that had happened while they were on the mission with Mary Jane happened 2 years from the start of the series. Okay, so from the time that we're first introduced to Lucy from episode 1, it happened 2 years prior to that exact moment. Now, I'm going to shift the conversation real quick. Do y'all remember when Natsu, Lucy, and Happy, they were in the forest, and Natsu had burned Happy's fish, and then Happy got real mad at Natsu, and Natsu was like, I don't give a damn. about your fish, and he was basically like not gonna apologize to Happy, and they were just mad at each other, and Happy storms off. Lucy had said something to Natsu in that moment, and Natsu had a flashback to Lasana saying the exact same thing, and he basically snapped at Lucy. He stormed off. Lucy was confused because she didn't know what was happening. And Natsu basically had to relive that painful memory of Lasana. It wasn't really a pain. I mean, it was painful, but like, I'm not gonna say it was like it broke him down. But like, he was really mad at Lucy for saying that, and for the fact that the memory had been brought up. So it was really in that moment that solidified to us, the audience, just how much Lasana meant to Natsu. Hiro Mashima did not have to give us that scene or that image, but he did. He set up Natsu and Lasana's relationship purposely. Now fast forward to when she basically came back to life and she came back to the guild. Y'all are not gonna sit here and tell me that Natsu was not fake as hell and acted like this hoe did not exist at all. Because that's exactly what happened. She came back to life. They had one reunion moment. Where they were all crying and happy that she was alive. And then she rarely, and I do mean rarely, ever came back up. Even the episode after that episode, they didn't go off and talk. They didn't Netflix. They didn't chill. They didn't go on a midnight stroll going anywhere at all. And it would have been a perfect moment if Lucy had saw them in their relationship and she got jealous, and then she saw how powerful Lasana was, and she wanted to train harder and become a better wizard and then get Natsu's attention back on her. But that didn't happen. That would have been an amazing training arc. That would have been a time that Hiro Mashima could have progressed Lucy even further as a wizard and did all the shit that he's doing now in their final season. He could have did that right then and there, and that would have been an amazing moment for her. Nonetheless, y'all were head over heels for each other. And now, since you got a second chance at that, y'all acting like y'all don't even know each other. And that is what I meant when I said about like a whole wasted opportunity from Hiro. Because with Lasana coming back, she would have put pressure on Lucy and Natsu's friendship in quotation marks, because obviously we know that Lucy has feelings for Natsu, and Natsu's feelings for Lucy's are pretty vague, to say the least. But his feelings for Lasana, they were not vague at all. They were very apparent in the anime from the past, and vice versa with Lasana to Natsu. So obviously their feelings were reciprocated for one another. That would have been an extremely good setup for the plot of the anime. You know what I mean? Like, and it would have been better setup if Lasana had joined the group, because then of course it just would have been better. I would have enjoyed watching it a lot more. Oh, and one last point I'd like to make, but this wasn't stated in the blog forum. I just felt like it's something that needed to be said. Her voice is annoying in both the subbed and dubbed version of the anime, and I can't watch a show where I don't like the character's voice, and it makes me dislike the character even more. Sorry, not sorry. But that is all I have for y'all today in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and make sure you turn on your notifications. I will greatly appreciate it, and I will have another video coming out tomorrow. So enjoy the day, and remember, as always, keep it safe and wrap it tight. I'm out.